So, how does it feel to be on a brand new show this season?
It kind of is fresh. It's nice to have a kind of a kick in the pants and a kind of a jump start narratively. It's fun.
Because your characters are in a different place emotionally, I mean, more than just physically.
Yeah, it was fun to read those first few scripts and see how they were going to cope with trying to be invisible, adopting false identities, all of that, and that has played out to good advantage, both dramatically and comically, I feel like.
Fusco's holding it down at the 8th, baby.
Fusco's got a lot of new companions there between Reese and the new boss.
Yeah, I know. The guy that's been torturing Fusco for the last 3 years is sitting across the desk from him now, which is kind of interesting.
What about your new boss? Are we going to be seeing more of her?
I don't know. I hope so. She was great. I hope so. That was a great question.
Didn't get it in.
You didn't get it in?
You see what the writers do is they'll every episode or so we'll get some new role, some new character that could you think, oh wow, they could really do something with this down the line, and so then you begin to wonder which ones will they do that for.
You know, and historically the case has been when we have actresses and actors that come into the show, they usually get something else, and we can never get them. And that's been the case a lot too, where they've wrote extensive storylines for people, and then we go to get them, and they're like, "Oh, they're on another series now," you know. So,
victims of our own success.
Exactly.
Are we going to see more fallout from Harold's failure to save Claire from St. Martin, the math prodigy?
Well, that's a good example of a character that seems like it could have a future on the show, right? I mean, anyone who is a brilliant hacker and is living in the same world as our heroes, you feel like their paths must cross again.
You can't say whether or not that happens anytime soon?
Not to my knowledge, but I'm the wrong one to ask. I mean, you know, we get a script. We start a new episode on Friday. I'll probably get that script on Wednesday.
Emotionally, do you think it's going to take its toll on Harold, that failure to save her from an uncertain fate?
I think almost every episode in recent times, Harold has something worth regretting. But I think the volume and pace of the challenges in front of him keep him from dwelling too long on it.
True, and it's big changes and new home.
Yeah, right. It's really a cool set, though.
Have you spent much time on it yet?
Yes.
And
yeah, I mean, it is the new library, that subway set. So we were there. I mean, that's one of our permanent sets.
That's one of the most impressive sets I've ever seen.
It is.
As long as I've been in this business.
Yeah.
That set is just unbelievable.
I was stunned when I walked onto it. The scale of it, the detailing of it, the historicity, the research that went into it, it's so cool. And then where do you get a subway car? And how do you get it across the country?
Great.
And how do you get it on the soundstage? Amazing.
There's a lot of effort and money.
Yeah. No doubt about that.
Is there a scene or an episode coming up that you can't wait for the fans to see, that you want to point the fans to and say, make sure you're there for this one? You don't have to say what's in the scene. Just
right. There's an episode coming up where Mr. Finch has to go abroad for business purposes. But is that all he's up to? And he enters into a relationship with a new character that may not be all it seems.
Can you tell us if he goes to Italy?
Oh, no. Oh, I see what you mean.
Good.
For Fusco, it was last week. The Wingman would be the episode so far to date this year.
Yeah, that was really great.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, in this season and last season, towards the end, Fusco was in a very different place than he was initially. I mean, you're sort of the experienced, more thoughtful detective that everyone looks up to.
Yeah, I think the Detective Carter was the one who kind of brought Fusco back to the once heroic image of himself that he may have once had when he initially became a police officer, and the writers have really done a great job at continuously putting him on that path of redemption.
And now you've been trying to force Reese to, this is what a cop, or Riley, this is what a cop.
Yeah,
this trying
to corral Riley is a little bit of a challenge. I think this year what Fusco will be doing more of is just covering for him than anything else, and explaining to the powers that be why he's not at his desk. So I think that'll be a lot of Fusco's responsibility this year.
He's never at his desk.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to have anything? Any scenes coming up together?
You never know.
We usually have one or two good ones throughout the...
We talk on the phone.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
He knows me well enough to use nicknames.
Exactly.
Like
my little pet name.
What about more backstories for Finch? I mean, we're going to fill in some of those gaps from previous seasons.
Yeah, probably. Yes. Somebody said in passing in the makeup trailer the other day, interesting flashback stuff coming up. I don't know what they meant by that. I assume it has something to do with me, but
wow,
who knows?
What would you most like to learn about Finch?
Well, it would be cool to know what he did, more of the particulars of how he made his fortune.
That makes sense. His long gone fortune, or his inaccessible fortune.
His inaccessible fortune. Yeah.
And will he elaborate more on the threat of Samaritan and what it means to him?
I suppose. That's a good question. Does Mr. Finch fully understand the capabilities of Samaritan? Is it like the machine on steroids, or is it something altogether different in nature? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he has ideas about it, and we can count on him. I mean, we must hope that he'll be a step ahead when the time comes. He may not have as powerful a computing system to use, but he is a better gamesman than almost anybody gives him credit for. So there are always backups to his backups.
And do you think we'll see more of, like, when they set up their own phone network to avoid Samaritan's gaze?
Yeah, I think part of what's been mechanically fun or practically fun about the early part of this season has been, the more homemade kinds of technologies that they've had to resort to, but which have turned out to be effective. It's sort of like a shout out to analog. It's been good that way. Sometimes old school stuff can still work if you're smart.
I'm going to steal that. I'm stealing it right now.
Okay.
Shout out to Analog. It's mine.
I've already got that quote backed up in my head.
What are Finch's thoughts on Root at this point? Because that character is like evolved
right
so majorly since we first met her.
I think he's just stopped judging her. I think he just has to. She turns up every time he turns around. So there's just he can't run. He can't really complain. It would be a waste of his own breath and time. I guess there is a grudging acceptance. Even if she's mad, the fact that she loves the machine, his child, his techno child, that must go a little ways to endearing her to him. At least he kind of gets her.
And she keeps telling Finch, to kind of accept the machine.
Right.
Do you think Finch is getting there? Kind of deciding to accept the machine back into his life?
He's in an interesting position that someone else is asking him to have faith in the thing he's made. Someone else regards his techno child as a kind of deity. And I think that every fiber of his scientist being recoils from such a notion. And yet maybe at the end of the day there's a little bit of charm in the notion for him as well. There's a lot, we don't even know how much Finch knows about his own machine. Or whether there are things that he built into it that have not yet been revealed.
So he'll continue to struggle with the machine,
or struggle with his own sense of the ethics of artificial intelligence. And I mean, he has a glaring example of how badly it can go wrong in Samaritan, which they tried to keep from going online, and now they have it. And it's going to get bad.
Last couple questions.
Do you like to play these kind of mysterious characters? For example, this one that we don't know about the person, and the last one.
This is why I hardly ever play the romantic lead or the hero, because what's the fun of that? I have always played and enjoyed characters that were ambiguous or mysterious, just something that the audience didn't fully understand the minute they saw my face. You know, I think it's better to parse things out and to have a sense of things being a puzzle. It's nice if things are a puzzle. Keeps people thinking. I like that.
Go on.
Your comment about the two moods, calm or furious, kind of harking back to Ben Linus.
Oh, that's right. Actually, lately there have been some. I find myself playing moments that have qualities that are reminiscent to me from my work on that other TV show, which is interesting because I'm fond of saying that I tried to leave that character behind me, and we always do. But how far behind can you leave a character that you spent years?
Well, there was a Lost Reunion panel here earlier today.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there?
With Nestor and Ian. Yeah.
They were here?
Yeah. They were here earlier today.
I never even heard about it.
Anyway.